Alright YouTube, what's going on? It's Mesa back at it with some Destiny 2. So in this video, we're going to talk all about the Crucible in the Destiny 2 beta. And I have a special guest to talk with us about it because I am average at best, but this gentleman is a beast. But on his YouTube channel, which I'm going to link in the description, he can describe things best for us average folks as well as the intermediate and expert players. Say hello to CoolGuy. What's up, CoolGuy?
What's up, Sean? How you doing, man?
Doing very well, man. Thank you for joining me today. We have a lot to talk about. Now, granted, let's put the disclaimer, the beta for the Crucible in Destiny 2, okay? We don't know if it's going to be the final version. Things will be tweaked, supers, abilities, so forth. But let's just dive into basically kind of the basics, the bare bones of this Destiny 2 beta Crucible experience. And let's kick it off with the new time to kill. It's obvious they increased it, that's for sure. I noticed myself getting out of a lot of gunfights and also spending a lot more time downing people. What are your thoughts on the new time to kill compared to Destiny 1?
Well, yeah, it's a lot longer, man. I do think, I wish it was a little bit quicker. It feels like the pulse rifles were the most polished, right, in PvP.
Yeah.
The hand cannons, and you know, these weapons, when you start looking at these weapons, we don't know what kind of archetype that they're in. I mean, the hand cannons, which I'm not a big fan of, it's a 2 headshot, 2 body shot kill. So
right.
Generally in Bungie games, they reward you for headshots, and it just seems like you're kind of going through the motions to get, quote, the 4-shot kill. And like I said, I really hope there's a 3-shot hand cannon. But the pulses were probably the most polished.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the most balanced, but they definitely felt the best at all ranges, really. And that time to kill is probably what they should strive for. The auto rifles felt good. The headshot multiplier could probably be a little bit higher on those if we don't have things like counterbalance like we're used to in Destiny 1. But all around, I feel and I hope it does become a little bit quicker. It happened with everyone, right? Everyone just gets team shot and recovery, right?
Yeah.
So we have the resilience recovery or mobility as well. But you know what? Even with a little bit of recovery on there, you're still kind of out of a lot of gunfights. It was kind of like year 1 being firebolted from a Viking Funeral Touch of Flame firebolt from like a Sunsinger, right? You're constantly out of the fight, so with the time to kill being a little bit longer, you actually get your kill. Like the spawn times are really quick too, right?
Yes, yeah, they were.
So if everything's a little bit longer, I feel some things should be a little bit longer as well, because a lot of times you actually, you know, get B point or you make a good play, but they're already back in the fight and you're still recovering. So
yeah. I mean, like they definitely got to work on the spawns, because there was a few times where like 2 people spawned right next to me on the enemy team, and luckily I had my power fusion rifle and was able to melt them.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Let me ask you: was it just me, or did you notice less aim assist in the Destiny 2 beta Crucible?
Oh, much less.
Okay, there was. All right. I was wondering, I was like, was it just me, or was it just I felt a way less magnetism, especially with the hand cannons? I mean, right now in Destiny 1, I'm using a Lord High Fixer, God rolled, whatever, as you can, and I was mostly sticking with the auto rifle as my primary, the Skaithlock. I'm probably butchering that name. And then I would go with the Nurgle for my pulse rifle, but sometimes I would switch to the Nightshade for my primary and just run double pulses, but I wasn't as good with the Nightshade as a lot of other people. People would just waste me with those Nightshades, but I couldn't do the same thing. But the new time to kill, I definitely like it. I think it's a step in the right direction, but yeah, like you said, 4v4 leads to team shooting and so forth, but what do you think of the new 4v4 format and not having 6s in? I know we both are going to agree on this last one. What do you think of Rumble, free-for-all, not being in Destiny 2?
I'm not a fan of that. And, you know, the only thing that I can think of is that they're trying to just really push for team play, right? Togetherness for Destiny 2, especially with the storyline. So I can understand them not wanting a solo playlist. Like, I get that, but Rumble's just, I mean, it tests skill, your map awareness, your rotations, right? It helps you get familiar with the maps. And you can work on your 1v1 situations. And in Destiny 2, if you notice, like when there was actually it was rare, but we actually got into a 1v1, it actually felt like a gunfight. It really did.
Yeah.
So just having that option to go out and try to win your ones, that way you can, get back to your team shooting. Or if you're on a flank, right, you need to win your 1v1 to get position. Rumble really helps for stuff like that. But 4v4 as a whole, I think played really well, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise, really, because most people are used to 6v6. The maps were a little bit smaller, right? And most of them, I'm a big fan of the traditional 3-lane map, right? And that one for Control, Endless Veil, was essentially a a 3-lane map. Now the other one was mid. I already forget the name, right?
Midtown,
but,
I think it was called.
Midtown, but it kind of felt like almost like a Call of Duty map, right?
It totally, if it reminded me of some sort of Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare, like one of those types of maps. But yeah, we'll get the countdown towards the end because I want to pick your brain about the competitive playlist. Sure. What do you think about the new weapon systems now that it's no longer the, well, I could say crutch of having your primary and then either a sniper or fusion or sidearm right now, the way the meta is, or icebreaker for that matter, and then having a power weapon? What are your thoughts on how it changed the way the game plays?
It's completely different. I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, honestly, I'm okay with it, really. Because you have your energy weapon, your kinetic weapon, and your power. And you know what? The way I like to think about it is say you forgot everything you knew about Destiny 1, and they came out, it's 2014 all over again. They said, you know what? We're going to have these 2 weapons and then a power weapon, like a shotgun or a sniper, in this power category, right? Mm-hmm. So completely opposite. I think that we'd be okay with that, because then there'd be one guy. I mean, imagine Destiny 1 was like this, and then a month later, some guy was like, well, what if we ran around with that shotgun or that fusion rifle all the time? Like, I don't think people would be too keen to that, if that makes sense.
No.
So I think that it's okay. The energy weapons really shred supers. Some of them very quickly. I mean, the fusion rifle, I don't know if you ever got a full projectile bolt on a full super, but it melts pretty quick. Yeah.
Dude, I had some career ending. And there's this one clip where playing Countdown, Arc Strider, I was waiting. This guy saw me. I was in a room. He was coming toward. He popped his Arc Strider. I fusioned him. He was dead as disco within 2 seconds. It also happened even with the Dawn Blade. I fusioned him as soon as he popped it. You know, I was that annoying guy playing Control, waiting for the power ammo to spawn, getting it, and that became my primary weapon. Now I was saying on Twitter they're probably going to nerf that thing, and people were telling me, no, it's the same as fusion rifling in Destiny. I'm calling Bravo Sierra on that. I went back to Destiny 1 using my God roll, Saladin's Vigil, Praetorian Foil, and there's no way that my Saladin's Vigil or even my Praetorian Foil or even some other fusion rifles melt as good as that thing. I mean, I would barely even get most of the bolts on that other player, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the longer time to kill, they're engaging me. They're trying to get shots on with either their pulse or their auto rifle, and I have plenty of time to line them up and just incinerate them with their fusion rifle. So I think not necessarily a nerf to that thing, but probably less ammunition. I feel like 6 shots, if I got out of it, that was a guaranteed 4 to 5 kills for me being average, you know?
I think 4 is going to be the magic number for those. I mean,
yeah.
I talked about it not too long ago, because 4 with the shotgun, you know what you get out of the shotgun, 4 with the fusion, but those are very powerful archetypes. I mean, regardless when the game ships, I mean, if they're doing that, they're pretty good archetypes, right?
Yeah.
So, but you take the sniper rifle that has 6, shoots a little bit faster, does 100 to the body, or so let's say a shotgun has way less range, like in times of need, right? From Destiny 1, nobody uses that thing, or the Bad Council from New Monarchy. Maybe if those had like more ammo, I'd be okay with those having 6, but they don't have the lethality of that fusion or even the shotgun that we had. I mean,
yeah. I definitely enjoyed the shotgun, you know, but I definitely, you know, I hear what you're saying from that. Moving on, so we have a party list, and then we have the competitive playlist. And I wanted to chime in a little bit and get your quick opinion. You probably have a lot to talk about. Skill-based matchmaking versus connection-based matchmaking. I definitely felt the skill-based matchmaking, me being average. When I went into the first day, I was getting destroyed for about the first 4 or 5 games, and then I started getting easier and easier lobbies, or just normal lobbies where the games were pretty tight, whether I was solo or rolling with a team. Now, I do have to give the disclaimer, I'm in New York City, so I usually don't have a connection problem. So I'm not exactly anti-skill-based matchmaking, but I'm not totally pro, all right, it has to be only connection. I feel like if Bungie could somehow balance the two, which I don't know how they're going to, connection and skill-based, what are your thoughts on what you experienced and what you would expect out of the final shipped game?
So it's weird. So I play solo a lot, man. I have over 200,000 kills in Destiny 1. And, you know, when I play Trials, like, I play with my wife, right? I play with a couple friends. It's not like we go in full stack. I find other content creators. Or I find, you know, I just kind of do my own thing. So in that beta, I played solo a lot. And, again, skill-based, connection-based. We have 2 matchmaking criteria, right? And something to remember, I always say, we have peer-to-peer system right now. So it doesn't necessarily, you know, matter what your connection is. You could have Google Fiber 1,000 down, but if you're connecting to somebody across the ocean, you know, in the UK or something, and you're trying to connect to them it doesn't really matter because they're hosting the game, and vice versa
Yeah.
for them, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times in Destiny 1, I mean, even with skill based there, I mean, I'd always ask people, and I'm really nice when I message, where are you from? Because he was lagging. Well, I'm from Dubai. I'm like, well,
yeah.
you know, why am I playing somebody from Dubai? And, you know, connection is that latency that we have to a lobby, and skill-based, right, is the KD, ELO, score per minute, whatever criteria they have. But two things happen just because skill-based is there, and something to think about. I mean, the ideal situation is that we have a connection-based lobby, because that makes the game run properly, and that's number one thing in my opinion, making the game run properly, nobody teleporting, getting extra frames, whatever it is. But there's also a scenario where everyone has a good connection, so it solely starts going on skill from there, right? Or the connection's not there and it has to use skill, and that way you're playing people from Dubai, you're playing people from Australia, right? So I just don't really like that it's so heavy, if that makes sense, because you said
makes sense.
yourself, you know, your fourth or fifth game, it kind of puts you in. And I was playing against some really top players playing solo, and they were in stacked teams. One of them, I even had to back out because it was towards the end of the beta. I'm like, I'm not even ready for that, you know?
Right,
because
right.
a team of 4, even a team of 2 or 3 in that, if they're using teamwork, can really put a lot of heat on 4 random people. And I really hope in the future, the same thing that like Overwatch does, if you go in with a team of 3, it's going to match you against a team of 3.
Right.
This whole stack lobby versus randoms, I'm not a fan of that, regardless of skill-based.
Me neither.
Regardless of skill-based, you know?
Yeah. It just depends on how many people are playing, and I mean, we run into that now. I mean, I still play Destiny 1 PvP a lot, you know, with my friends, and we play skirmish, and you know, if we go in stacked, we usually go up against randoms. You know, we rarely run into a full team of 3, but it's probably because the player base right now, in my opinion, is not nearly as strong as it used to be. In terms of, let's finish off with talking about the 2 game modes. Sure. What are your thoughts on the new Control? Right now, for me, I felt like the new version of Control, it felt really action-packed. I think the map was pretty much perfect. You know, when you go into, or at least I felt, when going into the strike, all the characters felt so much slower, right? Clearly felt like everything was slower. But then when I went into PvP, because I feel like the way the map was constructed, I still felt fast, you know? I was back to blinking on my Warlock. I'm pretty sure, that they reduced the reduction in HUD or cooldown of your, you know, HUD when you do blink, because I'm back to blinking on Destiny 1. And
also, after you aim down sight, did you notice that?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I like blinking again, you know? And it was the same thing with just like my Titan. Now, granted, I wasn't Titan skating, and I've never been a good Titan skater, but I felt like my Striker Titan was moving really fast around. What are your thoughts on Control? Let's just talk about Control first. The gunplay, the map itself, the team shooting. Go for it.
Well, first of all, I mean, 8-minute matches. It's jam-packed for 8 minutes. I think that we can agree on that. There's always something to do. There's a lot of rotations. Somebody's always taking A, always taking B. You know, I first thought that somebody was going to have A and B, and you were going to hold down position and just go for C, right? You know, basically control them at their spawn. But the spawns are kind of weird. I mean, we talked about that briefly in the beginning. So I'm okay with it. I love the way that it played. Honestly, I like it more than Destiny 1 Control, and some people might not be a fan of that. I like that, you know, the only 1-person cap, it's got a same exact cap time no matter what. If there's 1, 2, 3, 4 people, there's no neutralizing the zone. I think that really helps out the game mode, because if there was a neutralization, it would play completely different. Yeah. So I think that they did a really good job with that, man. What do you think?
I definitely liked it. I mean, I had a good time. I kind of feel like, well, they did address or say that they're going to do something with the supers with regards to everyone gets them at the end of the game and everyone pops them at the same time. I don't know exactly how they're going to fix that. You know what I mean? Maybe give some sort of super energy if you do cap a flag. But then again, you know, there was no motivation if and it did make sense. If someone was capping a flag, it didn't make sense for me to go over there just to put it on my scoreboard at the end. I went and pushed on to the next flag or defended the middle if I knew someone was capping that, you know, that home flag and so forth. But I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, they did say that Destiny 2, each game mode has its own map. So that will be really interesting.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see 2 to 3 maps for that one game mode alone. You know,
yeah, we know that Endless Veil by the back of our hand about now, man.
Yeah, I mean, like Destiny 1, we had so many maps. I mean, like they even get, like for the beta, I mean, like for the alpha and beta, you know, we had Shores of Time, we had Rusted Lands and Blind Watch for the Iron Banner for the Destiny 1 beta. We had First Light, and I feel like playing a one map over and over got just a bit redundant. But let's move on to Countdown. Now, this is where I want to get your perspective, because I do consider you a PvP Beast Pro, right? So this is probably your game mode. For me, I found it unplayable solo, which makes sense. It's the competitive playlist.
Very tough.
And then when I went in with 3 friends, we had the greatest time. Oh my God. I mean, the map was great. The call outs was so much fun. You know, learning. I love how they put, you know, the different places where, okay, you've got market, you've got rugs, you've got whatever, you know, hallway, you know. I like as we went through the map, we start to learn all these things. Like someone just pulled, you know, like seeing where someone pulled power, right? When we know someone's got power and they pulled a fusion, all right? So stay away from that area. Yep. So playing with a stacked team, a lot of fun. In my opinion, way more fun than playing, say, like Trials of Osiris, where it's just, you know, kill everybody. I really like, you know, like how quickly you plant that bomb. You could just run in there and just quickly plant it, but then to defuse it, you got to take your time and do it. So from a pro's perspective, what do you think of the map and also the whole gameplay of Countdown?
So solo play wasn't fun. You're absolutely correct. Now, yeah, you know, and a lot of players do play solo. There's going to be players that no matter what are going to play solo because either they don't have anybody to play with or that's their preferred way of playing. And this game itself, you have to break a lot of bad habits. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you see 2 people, don't even start shooting. You just turn the corner and go because you're not going to outshoot those 2 guys. Yep. You're not going to. It's very tough too. I did it like twice, right? But that involves them missing a lot of shots. So basically, when I ran solo and competitive, I would just always stick with a random guy. And even then, you guys are working together, even if he doesn't know that. But that's some of the things that you have to put in your toolkit. And the lone wolf mentality, because you can do a lot of lone wolf things in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
And there's no team shotting in Destiny 1, but then again, everybody has shotguns and power weapons with one-shot kills. They can go on flanks and get kills. Not necessarily in Destiny 2. So when I actually did play with a team, you're right. It was a lot of fun. And even when you lost, I mean, all you can really ask for is for a good game. And when we played other teams of 4, that's when it was, in my opinion, the peak of fun because they knew what they were doing. We knew what we were doing. Okay, we're gonna go to a market this time, or, you know, and, we're gonna let them have rugs, etc., etc. But then again, playing against 4 random people, I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, because you can see that there's no team chemistry. You can see that they're just kind of going through the motions of the loss. I mean, they really were, regardless of how good they are. Because again, if somebody's lone wolf and you're just right next, especially like a healing ref and a Titan shield, you got the golden 2 right there. And then you're just team shotting people. So
yeah,
my main thing is I hope that they start matching fire team to fire team, 2-2, 3-3, and you know what? Even every now and then throw in a random 4 versus a random 4. I think that's going to be really good for the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely agree with that. I kind of feel like because they're 2 different playlists, solo players more than likely will probably be going into the party playlist. I know myself. Correct. If I'm solo, I'm going in the party playlist. You know, and I could hopefully still earn loot. Feel better about myself with the new scoreboard at the end. We'll save that for another time where we could talk at length about the new scoreboard and how it's now efficiency. It's about assists and kills counting towards your efficiency and so forth. But anyway, man, good discussion today. You know what? Let's hear from the comment section. So everyone in the comment section, I know we covered a lot of stuff today. Let us know what your thoughts are and what your experiences were in the Destiny 2 beta. In the Crucible, we know it's not the final build, but it gives us a really good idea of how Destiny 2 is going to play out in terms of the Crucible. But we got to see the new game modes. We got to see the new maps. I'm pretty sure Destiny 2 is going to launch with 10 PvP maps, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. But just want to thank CoolGuy again, sir. I'm going to link his channel and Twitter in the description, and his you have a Twitch too, right? You stream on Twitch?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to link everything in the description. He's the guy I go to watch for anything for PvP tips, because he's a beast. He can explain it to the pros, but he can explain it to average folks like myself. So anyway, with that being said, drop a like at this video, only if you see fit. Follow me on the Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube, and that's it. We are out of here like Vladimir.